These old jeans just sold for $2,000. Here's why. It looked like something pulled from a dumpster, frayed hems, torn knees, a faded tag barely hanging on. But these jeans, stitched over 100 years ago, just sold at auction for $2,000. And here's the craziest part. They weren't from Gucci. They weren't from Balenciaga. They were Levi's, the same brand sitting on discount racks at your local Walmart. So, what made these jeans so valuable? To answer that, we need to go deep. Not just into denim culture, but into a secret world of collectors, billion-dollar brands, and the forgotten minds of the American West. And there's something hidden in the back pocket of these jeans that'll completely change how you look at fashion. But first, how did jeans even become this powerful? The rivet revolution. It all started with one tiny invention, the copper rivet. Back in the 1870s, Levi Strauss wasn't trying to make fashion. He was solving a work problem. Gold miners and railroad workers were tearing through their pants day after day. Stitching wasn't strong enough to survive the job. Then, a Latvian tailor named Jacob Davis had an idea. Use metal rivets to reinforce the weak points. Levi Strauss backed the idea. They filed a patent. And just like that, jeans were born. Not as a style statement, but as armor for America's working class. This rivet changed everything. What started in California spread across the country. Cowboys, steelworkers, mechanics, they weren't buying jeans to look good. They were buying them to survive. And here's the twist, because these early jeans were so durable, some of them didn't fall apart, even a century later. Which brings us to one of the strangest subcultures in fashion. The denim archaeologists meet the denim diggers. They're not influencers, they're not stylists, they're jeans hunters. People who literally dig through abandoned mines, ghost towns, and trash pits in search of antique denim. Why? Because Levi's jeans made before the 1950s, especially pre-1930s, are rare. Like only a few dozen in the world? Rare. Some of these treasure hunters spend years mapping out old mining camps in California and Nevada. They use metal detectors, study topographic maps, and crawl through pitch-black tunnels just to find a crumpled piece of denim from 1890. And when they do, jackpot. One guy found a pair from 1880 with a single back pocket and no belt loops, a design that hasn't existed in over a century. That pair fetched $100,000. So when you hear that a pair of old jeans sold for $2,000, that's just the tip of the iceberg. But it's not just about age, because some jeans, even from the 1980s, are selling for thousands. And that's where Japanese collectors come in. Japan's obsession with American denim. In the 1990s, something strange started happening in Tokyo. Japanese teenagers were lining up outside vintage stores, not for Supreme or Comme des Garçons, but for old Levi's, especially models like the 50XX or Biggie. Why? Because Japan didn't just like American denim, they worshipped it. There was a belief that the best jeans ever made were from the US between the 1940s and 1960s. The fabric was raw, the fades were natural, and the stitching had subtle imperfections you couldn't fake. To them, every pair told a story of the person who wore it, the way it faded, the shape it molded into. Vintage Levi's became so hot in Japan that collectors started flying to America just to raid thrift stores and swap meets. Entire businesses popped up in California just to export used jeans to Tokyo. And here's the kicker. In some Japanese magazines, you could find price charts listing values of jeans by year, model, fade pattern, and even the number of belt loops. But while Japan turned old jeans into luxury collectibles, another part of the world turned them into something even bigger. When celebrities started paying $10,000 for jeans. In 2015, a strange trend started popping up in LA. A-listers and stylists began scouring vintage dealers for perfect fades. Not factory-made, acid-washed jeans, but real vintage denim. The kind worn in by truckers or bikers over decades. And the more beat up they looked, the more expensive they got. Rihanna rocked a pair of shredded Levi's that looked like they'd been dragged behind a car. Kanye West reportedly spent 5 figures on a 1960s 501 pair. Even GQ started calling them the holy grail of men's pants. The logic was simple. You can buy style, but you can't fake time. Suddenly, people were paying $5,000 to $10,000 for jeans, not because they were new, but because they were old, real, flawed, lived in. But how do you even prove a pair is legit? That brings us to the hidden signatures only experts can spot. The code's hidden in the fabric. To a rookie, all jeans look the same, but to a denim collector, every detail is a clue. Selvage stitching tells you whether it came from a shuttle loom. The older the loom, the better the fade. The red tab on the back pocket, if it just says Levi's in all caps, it's post-1971. If it's mixed case, that's older and rarer. The back patch made of leather instead of paper, that's pre-1955. Hidden rivets on the inside back pockets, that's 1930s era. Even the button numbers on the fly can help identify the factory where they were made. It's forensic fashion, and the more obscure the marker, the more valuable the jeans. This is why some collectors will spend hours inspecting a single pair under magnification, checking stitch counts, rivet wear, and fade placement like it's a crime scene. But what if the biggest denim jackpot didn't come from a mine or a vintage shop, but from a thrift bin? The $2,000 thrift store find. Here's what happened. A guy walks into a thrift store in Arizona, just browsing, flips through the rack, sees a beat-up pair of jeans marked $12. But something catches his eye. The back tab just says Levi's in all caps. He flips them over, selvage seam, checks the fly, hidden rivets. Patch is leather. Button number matches a Cone Mills factory in North Carolina that shut down in the 1980s. He buys them, cleans them gently, lists them online. They sell at auction for $2,000. Why? Because this pair wasn't just old. It was a perfect storm of rarity, condition, and historical markers. The new owner, a collector in Singapore, the buyer didn't even plan to wear them. He framed them. Because in this world, denim isn't just clothing, it's a trophy. Conclusion. A century ago, jeans were for minors. Today, they're museum pieces, frayed, faded, torn, and worth more than gold to the right buyer. What started as rugged workwear has become one of the most mythologized garments in the world. It's not just about fashion, it's about legacy. About the hands that stitched it, the years that wore it down, the stories soaked into the fabric. So the next time you see an old pair of jeans at a garage sale or thrift store, look closer. Because hidden in that denim might be a piece of forgotten history. And if you're lucky, a $2,000 surprise.